It's a comedian show that say, "Dear white people." I'm gonna make that motherfucker just a little bit deeper than the comedian series called "Dear White People." It's "Dear White People, Asian, Spanish, and Black People." It's a public ghetto service announcement. White people, Asian, Spanish people, y'all have a representative in government. And guess what his name is? Donald Trump. So, though the black people have a representative as chief of mission, you got the United States Commander-in-Chief. Y'all white people, you heard me, be all in my backgrounds and shit as if I'm your spokesperson. I'm not. I made a post from one of Gerald Massey's books in London in the 1800s, from Ancient Egypt, Light of the World. Remember I was telling you that the Johnson Mary Gray family always worked with the Donald Trump family. And white people, Asian, Spanish people, you gotta understand, that's the man that you need to go through. Like this cracker that's standing behind me now. He just don't get it. He thought that was his moment to get his shine. It ain't clicking in his head that he has a representative. See, like I said, what didn't happen to you is, you heard me, that you didn't realize your ass been edited out of government, edited out of funding, edited out of history. Your whole career is pretty much over with. And I'm pretty much most of the person that did a lot of the research and studying on why you should be destroyed. But the person that actually destroyed you is your actual leader of European. Like I say, the Chippewa tribe has always let other races of people rule their people. Say, for instance, if you live in a certain district, right? Or you operate in a certain zip code, there's a state representative and a senator for every district, right? And every state got city council people, they got these governors, and they got these mayors, right? And then you got the biggest one of all, which is the president. Just like in Egypt, you got 42 nomes, right? What they call the 42 districts, or in the Zohar they call it Memphis, right? You heard me? Y'all have representatives to represent y'all. In y'all countries, y'all got prime ministers. What didn't happen is a lot of you white, Asian, Spanish people that got caught in those DEI frauds, and a lot of the black ones that became homosexual, see, like I said, even in Egyptology time, it's two gates. It's a heterogeneous gate, and there was a homogeneous gate. Remember, Ptah is always the gatekeeper of the heterogeneous people in the pyramid. You went through Satan's gate, or what they call Ramses' gate, remember? So when I made that post with Gerald Massey is a British person that's saying the Aboriginals were never fooled. Only you were fooled. So you can't fool the Aboriginal because it's in his blood to know that you're not with him. He gonna feel it. Just like a person, like I said, that got diabetes. You can't put your blood type on them. You hear me? A, B, A. You know that y'all ain't related. It would make them sick. I ain't got to pretend to be an Aboriginal, even the military know that. Say, for instance, if you play for a sports team, you know who your manager or your handler is, right? Just like if you work at McDonald's or Wendy's, you know you can't just approach the GM and the executive. So what had happened was the white person that you got to go through is at this heterogeneous gate, this Donald Trump character, right? Just like it always been throughout history. And you didn't realize that that's who you got to talk to for your salvation. You was like, well, maybe I'll bribe a couple black people to get through. Here's the problem. Just like Donald Trump got to say so on what white, Asian, Spanish, or any light-skinned people got going on in the United States, when it comes to all the nigga shit, right? You hear me? Me as the chief of mission, I got to say so over all that shit in the dependent. Here's the problem, right? You hear me? So it won't be no black people. You couldn't hire motherfucking Floyd Mayweather or Shaquille O'Neal to go against me. That's truth, man. I came up with it, the money game. You heard me? I invented it. That's the truth game. Talk your ass off. So there's no rich, powerful black people you gonna find. I invent all this shit. You hear me? You'll make yourself look like a fool, right? Because that's why I was saying, Jerry Massey was saying, you know your people, what white people that's with you. I don't know these people. I don't hang, like I said, I don't hang around white people. I don't hang around groups of Asian people, Spanish people. Even when I'm around them, I'm what they call, what God in them call solo thugging, right here, I'm all to myself. Now, one thing that I ain't gonna do as a man is stop talking to women, because a man, see, and I see, this is why Donald Trump got rid of you. The same reason you hear me. You'll never be on my team either, right? You hear me? Because there's only two teams. A man naturally gonna date a woman. That's what men do. A lot of you little boys out here that been dating children and shit. You been pedophiling kids. You not like us and shit. You don't know what it is to be a man, raise kids and have a family. So you wonder, well, why he can hang with women, not with us? It's two reasons. You have a representative. It's called Donald Trump. For the black people, they have a representative. A lot of black people, you hear me, that's why you don't really hear the powerful ones never say nothing about nothing I'm saying, because they already knew that before that shit was ever written on paper. And they know, I know which ones in the community that were informers that sold their people out, did 10, 15, 20 years back on the town. They can't lie about it. I've been around 40 years old, though I may not look it. I know the ins and outs here, but every goddamn city and state very much well who their leaders are in the black community and who doing what. Like even sometimes, like when I have to correct Tariq Nasheed about what he's saying, what he gonna do? He ain't gonna override what the fuck I'm saying. Because, like I said, even when it comes to reparations, right, you heard me, when you're in government, like I said, you go on the Department of Justice website, I'm the only person that the governor and them is speaking with. Not talking to some person, right, you heard me, that's just going on DJ Vlad or CNN, which is nothing wrong with it, you heard me at the same time, but I'm like, why are you including white people in black business? White people need to put white business with Donald Trump, Asian, Spanish people, right? What had happened was there were a few black people that included themselves in that DEI fraud, and I think they trying to come back to the heterogeneous gate. Here's the problem. I'm a real mob nigga. There ain't no coming back. I'm like the go talk to your. I'm the nigga who's gonna normally say go talk to your mama, Attorney General Pam Bundy. Once you kind of cross me, that's kind of it. Now, if you white, Asian, Spanish, and Trump want to deal with you a certain way after you done committed your fraud and your 2 assassination attempts, that's on him. They won't have nothing to do with you. Even in the gangster movie with Bumper Johnson, Lucky Luciano didn't have to kill Dutch Schultz. I mean, Bumper Johnson didn't have to kill Dutch Schultz for all that jealous, racist ass shit that was coming out of his mouth. His own people took him out. That's how that business get handled. Because I'm like, you already know how I'm coming and what I'm going to do if I had to put my hands on this white boy. I'm going to break his motherfucking neck and rip his spine out. So you handle your own people. Handle your little faggots, right? So all you white, Asian, Spanish people, you have a representative. His name is Donald Trump. So the whole notion that you think that one day you're going to be with me, it's just not going to happen. That's not the way the system is designed, and rightly so. Even in government today or 100 years ago with the Bumper Johnson, Lucky Luciano, it's designed the same way. Even in the Chippewa tribe, the original Indian tribes, when it was the 5 Iroquois tribes with the Chippewa, it worked the same way. You have your own representative. I'm not your congressman. I'm not your senator, right? You hear me? I operate a red light district, right? You hear me? So if you get caught up, right, even just because you got caught up in a red light district, you still got to talk to your representative. And it's not me. If you became an informant and you were black, right, you hear me? You know damn well you can't come back through a red light district in Peace Palace in Amsterdam on the international law through me, because you already know I'm shut down, so let's see. As soon as the requests come in, you hear me, shit laying on my desk in my email, I'm like, man, knock it off. No, none of this whole ass shit you tell me. You know you're a red, you hear me, I just let you live, just go on about your business, you hear me? I don't want to have to tell you folks to kill you now, you hear me? Just go on about your business, just go on about your business, because I don't want to say too much about this. I care about you now. You hear me? I hate to, like I used to tell my baby mama, I don't want to explain to my child why he ain't got no mama. Just go on about your business, right? You hear me? Just go on find you another boyfriend, right? You hear me? I don't want to have to be explaining it to him, okay? He letting you live is a blessing to you. It's a blessing to you. Right? Me just sending you to your proper people, Donald Trump, right? You white, Asian, Spanish people, and the gay people that got caught up with him, they were black. Right? You heard me? Your representative, whoever it may be in your neighborhood. I see you advertising RuPaul and shit. Go send RuPaul to talk to Donald Trump and see what he say. He can't come over here with Chip is. Chip is on all the nigga shit. I'm the nigga who never sold out. I live like Michael Corleone for real. What they say, a hustler, baller, gangster, what they say, a slave, soldier, hero, some shit like that. You hear me? W.B. Du Bois said, still Johnson married grateful. Right, you heard me? Like if you ask a woman, right, you heard me? Like I said, I'm always gonna date women because I'm a man. I'm not like you. I'm not gonna go out and tell a lie that I can do a woman's job and produce a child. That's the lie you told. That's why your life fucked up today. That's how you got written out the history book around here talking about you could be a woman. Like, you can birth 9 months of baby. No man in his right mind would believe that shit. I don't give a fuck how many dollars you got. You heard me? Millions of billions. But you lied. That's the lie you told. And now you suffering for it. You heard me? You're going to be remembered in history as the transsexual or slave trade, you heard me, of the 21st century. That's what you're going down in history for. So I think kind of like to clear up your conscience right here. If you white, Asian, Spanish, you have a representative in big government. His name is Donald Trump. Now, chief of mission, right, deals with dependents. Those are women and children, right? And sometimes veterans, right, you heard me, that need to get back on their way. Now, that is my department, right? I don't work in that office, right? You heard me, that you looking for. The office you looking for what Donald Trump is. The problem you have with going to your daddy or your actual family member, right, you heard me, and that is not it's heterosexual now. So you're like, oh, well, I'm going to avoid going to Donald Trump, you hear me, I'm going to just go where the black person is in my case. That's not the way the government is designed. No way, the mafia don't even work like this. You know, you got your Italian, Corleone, Lucky Luciano type niggas, those families, and the Johnson family. You know damn well, you heard me, you ain't supposed to be talking to me, you got to talk to your leader, you heard me. That you know, that you ain't, and I already know how you feel about what you're doing. Rank structure. Right? So, if you play for the Chicago Bears, you can't come back and say, Philadelphia Eagles, am I going to be on the roster? Even the owner going to be like, look, I like you, I might like your style, but you know you don't play for my team, man, stop it. Come on, man, you make a fool of yourself. There ain't even an application process, you heard me, that exists like that. And like I said, before 100 years ago, whether it was Bumpy Johnson or Lucky Luciano, or the Trumps, you heard me, right, and the Johnsons, Robert Johnson, BET today, even in Indian days, the Chippewa tribe would have told the other tribes, you hear me, y'all have to talk to whoever the representative was of your tribe. Just like any person that's a senator, a congress, in a district that operates, right? You know damn well legally, you never had a legal sanctuary city or a red light district to operate off of. It always been my district. Your Pinocchio ass tried to include yourself in it, and I sent you to your real master, you hear me? And that's where you died at, you hear me? Because they don't smoke and drink no way. They know I do all that shit. That's why it's legal. So it's two problems that I see you running into. Those little marijuana dispensaries you having, all that shit finna get recalled. A lot of those gentlemen clubs that got charged with the security guards was stealing the women money and shit. All that's getting recalled. Why? Because they're going to say, wait a minute, yeah, you can't work at the Johnson district, right? The Johnson Mary Gray district, that's a nigga district. Even in the time of Lucky Luciano, just like today, like I was showing the movie Crimson Tide, right? You got Gene Hackman and you got Denzel Washington. That's how it works. Go through your gate. Now, am I still gonna date women? Yeah, because that's their natural role. But I won't be dating no man because you can't birth no child, regardless of what she look like. And that's your problem. And that very fucked up mindset that you have, right? That's hard for you to get over. Same reason Trump ain't listening, why I ain't listening. Yeah, we all day. Even Trump fuck a porn star. He understand it. That's why we living like Richard Gere, Pretty Woman. Why? Because it's less of a headache. I don't have to worry about dead weight. She know why she coming around me, you hear me? And when she need to get the fuck away from me. Unlike you inclusionary people. Keep in mind, you won't never get funded again. You can't bribe no black person, no basketball player, no rapper. Say, hey y'all, Donald Trump, you hear me, has said this black guy, you hear me, Young Chip is the boss now, and it's in they already know that. Now, like I said in the book of Tobit, right, in the Bible, they said, man, the man that got the money had the money there for over 20 years and had never went nowhere. And like I said, the real King Tut story, you hear me, is what? The nigga never died. I had the money since I was a teenager. It wasn't new. It was new to you. That's why I was posting all them dope cases on there from back in the day, early 2000. I've been doing this shit for so long. You hear me? I say that's why when you in court trying to show, they're like, what did you have to do with marijuana legalization? You have no cases on it. What do you have to do with OnlyFans? You literally have no cases on it. You hear me? With white trafficking and what they call human slavery, right? I mean, white slavery, right? You know the original, before it was OnlyFans, it was called white slavery. Why? Because a man named who? Jack Johnson. It's Johnson family again. When it comes to alcohol and tobacco and these corner stores and these lottery tickets that pay for the education, where you at again? The Johnson Murray great family. When you looking crazy like Nick Cannon, you hear me making Jewish statements and talking about you at Howard University, HBCU. They say, well, who was the man that made the money while you even at Howard University, Mr. Nick Cannon? John Maccabees outside the tree, a man named Mordecai Johnson. So when these niggas talk about these lineages and these reparating all this dumb ass shit, right? You hear me? Like I said, the people in the Bible obviously have families. I told you, Johnson Murray Gray family. In London, right? You hear me? It's Henwood Gray, Elwood Gray, right? Am I making this shit up? You hear me? Henwood Gray, Elwood Gray. You know damn well your last name ain't Gray. You made fool yourself. Talking about you finna get some benefits out the treasury, supplemental income. How they gonna give you some money and your last name ain't even Gray? Or Johnson? Or Murray? A lot of y'all don't even know what the fuck your last name is. But you brought your ass to America trying to lay claim to some shit that ain't yours. So they defunded all your companies because you'll never be able to get the money back. You tried to run your women Trump way. And Trump, and this is another dilemma. There's only two people now you can get the money through now to bring your women through. Trump already went through so many trials with women. He don't want nothing to do with you hoes no more. So you can't fuck Trump and get back in the door. Oh, Big Daddy, give it to me. Give it, you know, he won't play Hugh Hefner because you hoes already ran that cross. I mean, he ain't gonna fall for it. Jay-Z ain't gonna fall for it. He just had the same type of scandal, right? I ain't gonna fall for it. I had the scandal. All of us won our trials, you hear me? So all you hoes, you hear me, that ran with them Hunter Biden, OnlyFans, DEI oil frauds, right? You hear me? We leaving you to them faggots, you hear me? And just spend the money wisely while you still got time on planet Earth that you live in. You took the bribes, you told those lies, you went to court, got your ass tore up. That's the end of it. Stuck with the same job, though. Meanwhile, niggas is still the mob. So that ain't gonna really change, right? You hear these words that we call these families, right? Those lineages, all that shit found in scripture in the Bible, but that ain't your family. I seen some white girls trying to change their last name to Johnson, Murray, Gray, Mike Johnson, Matter of fact, truth be told, there's a thing about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. I said the first person to do all that shit in office was in the time of civil rights, President Johnson. See, they assassinated Abraham Lincoln, but President Johnson gonna assassinate your ass. You heard him? That's why you scared. They said President Johnson, you heard him in the time of Civil War, that nigga in the office drinking, smoking, he got holes in there and a pistol, you heard him? Yeah, see, it's just like when people tell me about Memphis. Your guy is damn near shorter than me, like 5 feet. But why are you afraid? You're afraid of people that'll kill you for treason, you heard me, and win in court. See, anybody that you can play with and shit like that, you hear me? Those people, yeah, you know, you can get them niggas to sweep the floor, wash the dishes, take out the trash and shit, say yes sir, no sir. Yeah, see, y'all like them old hoe ass niggas, you hear me? Y'all, any nigga that you violate, say something disrespectful to you, you hear me? Or get your head blowed off in your bankroll store, taken from you in your cash register. Them the people you scared. It's like menace to society when that nigga said, I feel sorry for your mother. You hear me? That nigga jump across the desk and kill you. You hear me? Take your money from you. And he the only nigga don't die in the movie. Them the niggas you afraid of. Because we understand what's called divine law, God's law. We know what we working with within our realms. Y'all come around here, you hear me, trying to pretend. Like I said, even in that movie, Menace to Society, remember the white man used to come knock on them folks' door? Hey, black people, can y'all go steal some cars? Can y'all go commit some crimes out here for me? Like, we already know what you up to out here in LA. It's nothing new that you're doing, and I don't want shit to do with you. That's just the truth about it. Anything that you outside of a high and a buy, you heard me, that's about it. You heard me. The only relationship I ever have with you. You have representation in government. In federal government is Donald Trump. Whether you like it or not, what you gonna do? You got two choices, because you can't force yourself, come over here with me, because I'm gonna shut the whole shit down. I'm like, for one, you ain't black, and so they're gonna kill a whole argument. You don't give a fuck if you thought you was a gang or not. They gonna like Bumpy Johnson, Lucky Luciano shit been going on since the Chippewa tribe, since the Treaty of Kadush, the First World Peace Treaty. That shit ain't nothing new, and today is me. Now, if you black and you sold out and became a federal informant, you heard me, you end up doing 10, 15, 20 years, Got out later, guess what? Chip still Chip. That Chip was 20 years ago. You heard? Chip still the boss. I was the boss when your ass went to jail 20 years ago. I'm still the boss today. And the reason why you ain't saying shit, because that's the very reason why you did 15, 20 years ago. Dummy. Oh, okay, that's cool. I sure like this, boss. Are you gonna run with the white folk? That's what you gonna do? Go on with them then. You heard? What I do to your ass? You in there? Yeah, you heard me. Yeah, we'll be seeing you. He gone. Go, you heard me, see, you heard me, a decade from now, some clown ass nigga, you heard me. And that's what happened to you for treason, you heard me, you know it. No more than that happened to the 12 tribes of Israel, you heard me in the Bible, man. Niggas ain't taking that treason lightly. Okay, you was punished, you did your time, that's cool, but that don't mean we finna link up and do no business after that. I have a firm belief that once a nigga a hater, he always a hater. It's just like a hoe I'm fucking. I already know that a woman might have other men before she meet me. I get all this. But if I start fucking you, keep in mind, I'm like pimping the Egyptians, like Abraham and Sarah when they met the Pharaoh. He said, you don't get it, little Abraham. Melchizedek should have told you, you hear me? I don't sell my hoes. Ain't no sharing bitches over here. She come my way, that's it. She come back your way, you going into 400 years of slavery, you hear me? You in your bitch, you hear me? Matter of fact, here goes some money for your commissary, you hear me? I'll holler at you later, player. There's no sharing hoes over here. This ain't high school, fool. You know, and a lot of these women, right, you hear me, like I said, they are obviously dick deprived. That's why they have OnlyFans. I get all that. That's called supply and demand in economics. Women have OnlyFans. They married, you hear me, still got dildos and OnlyFans. So obviously, right, you hear me, whatever you men are doing, that they still at the sperm banks or they still on their OnlyFans, you hear me, they're not satisfied with you, right? So they still have a demand called reproduction. That's their demand. And you can't fulfill it. So you need to get your weak ass off the market, right? You hear me? Because you ain't on the market for reproduction. You mostly corrupting people, you hear me? Pretending that you are any type of negotiator or mediator of the whole relationship. You are modern day fascist Hitler thinking niggas, you hear me? Thinking you running eugenics scheme. If you don't like women, then you have nothing to do with the reproduction conversation. Because like I said, Agenda 21, Item 33, it didn't even say diversity. That was a lie. It said biodiversity and climate change, what Einstein called the general theory of relativity and eugenics. Not only were you uneducated scientifically about it or knew anything about, even from the 18th dynasty in Egypt, about Aten, the sun worship, how it turned to Amen, why King Tut got away from his grandfather-in-law in the military to do his own thing on his little Siddhartha journal, whatever the case may be, right? What they call the prodigal son, right? You hear me? Remember Toby like the prodigal son never came back. Because he found out that he wasn't even the descendant of them. Y'all got to really start studying these stories. But they were trying to eat off his story. Keep in mind, Gerald Manson puts these in the Egyptology form. W.B. Du Bois puts those in the Harvard Law Government form, right here. But it's the same story. I be like, truth be told, film industry didn't actually doing an acquisition on it. That's the truth about it. So I hope you like your little camera and your access to this illegal surveillance you got, because you won't be having it too long, because I'm taking it too. So keep watching and listening. I'm coming to what they call the 1862 Confiscation Act. I'm taking all your cameras, I'm taking all your computers, I'm taking all your little listening devices, I'm taking all of that shit. Because what originally happened with that equipment, it's a movie called When a Hooker Goes to Washington, D.C. in the 1970s, and she went to government, and these little CIA, FBI people like Hunter Biden started giving these hoes tracking device equipment like that they weren't supposed to have. Luckily for me, right, you hear me, like I said, I'm on all the nigga shit, right, you hear me, all the real Corleone, Kepler shit anyway. I fuck with all the hoes. So when I had realized these hoes had CIA surveillance equipment, the FBI, these are hoes, on the track type bitches. I said they committed treason. You won't be coming, y'all, your career is over with. See, luckily for me, right, like I said, if you ever watch the movie, the first CIA agent spooking himself by the door, his job was the chief of reproduction, breeding. Then he got all the hoes, all you see in the movie, he worked in two places. Social service and on the side, he fucked all the hoes. You hear me? Know what he did? Because you don't know what the fuck they talking about. You hear me? When they got female body inspectors, you hear me? That's the essence of agriculture and commerce. So when I found out my hoes had that equipment, I said, oh, shit, bitch, what? Oh, he committed treason, you hear me? That's the end of his career. That's why Joe Biden did what they call sin die in politics or legal terms. I mean, he died in his sin. He had to drop out the race because it was a disgrace to him, you hear me? And all of this was out of jealousy. Keep in mind, a lot of people, I was making a point to a person the other day, and he was like, man, them gay people, they trying to get back in power. Those LGBT. I said, fool, I was still getting money when they had Joe Biden was in government. What are you talking about? That's not going. You being in the damn office ain't gonna stop me from being chipped. You hear me? Like, you sound crazy. You hear me? I still get paid. That's why it's coming along like real Melchizedek. I don't give a fuck. I'm like Don King and shit. I don't give a fuck who win. I still don't get paid. Because when my little Achilles looking at decide me and my unit want to attack you, hear me? Just wipe all your shit out. You hear me? I don't even need all them soldiers nowhere. I know how to move, nigga, when it's time to take your shit over, you hear me? Like, for real. Just, at this point in the game, you hear me? So many soldiers, you hear me? We got so many motherfuckers, you hear me? In the military and government, you hear me? Like, LP, man, every alphabet in the letter down there now, you hear me? Shit, my job pretty much done at this point. I ain't got nothing to do but collect some money. I would buck you up, you hear me? But I'm like, for what? I'm the one that already took the shit over before they even showed up. Really got nothing to prove for you besides letting them know you was still doing insurrection around here. Keep in mind in government, we not paying for nothing that got your ass whooped or took from you while you committed that insurrection. You heard me? That's what you did. Committed insurrection. We won't give you a dime. Your charges will not be honored in court. You heard me? None of that shit. You heard me? You committed treason. They start stalking people. Matter of fact, you were already doing it, you just got blatant with it. The police that were doing it, right? We got they revoked their security clearance. They came to Hollywood, supposed to be on a mission. They're gonna make you a big star. They had to revoke it, went towards the gap, revoked all their security clearances. Like y'all was retarded around here. That part of your life over with. You gotta understand, if I wanted to be a celebrity, you heard me, I would have tried the shit a long time ago. I realized that wasn't gonna be my career path. That happened to me later on in business as I got older, you heard me? Those opportunities presented themselves, and I had money and I was in the street. And when it did, you heard me, I invested, unlike you. Kind of like the Jimmy Neutron thing, right? You hear me? He said, man, if I could have invested in such and such burger stand back in the day, man, I've been a billionaire now. You hear me, man? You hear me? See, a lot of y'all, right? You hear me? Like Charles Hamilton, like I'm watching this girl, Sanchez, I post her on her. She's like, yeah, you know, the best thing you can do now is buy people businesses. It might look like they're bound bad right now, but don't worry about it. I was like, yeah, when I found that man, he couldn't even get a cigarette in South Central. And I said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that there's a guy here that sold 1 million records and he in the trap? I got to see this shit, you hear me? For real, you hear me? Nigga, man, listen, I was like, the nigga on Coming to America, not saying that he the same type of character, but I got nice as a motherfucker. Hey, man, I do it anyway, bro. You need anything to smoke, thing. I'm like the nigga on Lil Bow, what Lil Bow Wow with the lottery ticket. He said, it's about time y'all start showing this man the proper respect around here, you hear me? I'm like, nigga, if you sold 1 million records, that mean that money still being made. So all of these niggas is around here in the ghetto, right? I'm responsible for all the money that come through in South Central when them niggas was down there balling in the pandemic and the nigga know it, you hear me? Like, for real, man, everybody eating, you hear me? We still eating to this day, you hear me? That's how black people branched off from the employee to the employer stage and got some leisure finally for a change. Because that shit was really fucking with my mind in the ghetto, because I had never seen poor black people until I moved to LA. It was the first time I had ever seen it in my life. I was like, damn, you hear me? I had never seen it, because even the women that's live in the ghetto, them hoes do nails, taxes, babysit, and the candy lady out the same house. All them hoes, you hear me? Them hoes got something going on here. Baby dad, an athlete or a dope boy or something, you hear me? All them hoes. And even if they fail, they just have a baby, go to the Social Security office, get Section 8 apartment, you hear me? Just live off that shit, you hear me? The more babies they have, they inflate, the money go up. That's why I tell you, I know the economic Dowry Brad part. So I had never seen it. So I was finally happy to see the community thrive. And I think what started overwhelming people was they started seeing people like Nipsey Hussle, their raps changed. Black people starting to get money, want to invest in businesses. They were like, no, we got to stop this shit. We got to stop. I was like, stop it for what? I thought y'all were all for the, you know, the music. I mean, they used to be on the, what do you say, third generation South Central gang banging. We lived long enough to see that shit changing, you hear me? And it hurt their feelings. They was like, you know, I know we've been around here normally doing business like this here, but we're going to just start buying, instead of just standing in front of the store, we're going to buy up something from the store. Instead of just running up in a spot, you know, I feel sorry for your mama, nigga. Now we gonna bring our own trucks in, right? That was a foreign concept, right, to a lot of niggas, but niggas like, yeah, you know, instead of just shopping at the dispensary, we're gonna start our own dispensary. Matter of fact, let's just stop buying their clothes, you hear me? We're gonna buy our own clothes, put our own names on it, you hear me? And all this shit here, you hear me, right? You hear me? So instead of, cause tradition, the truth be told, 8 years ago, this how I know a lot of you niggas ain't even from LA, you hear me? They weren't really necessarily into it with each other. They were into it about how many properties they controlled around there, illegally though. They'd go up in a motherfucking store and say, hey man, I need all this out your store, all this money, you hear me, all these resources, these cigarettes, these alcohol bottles, you hear me, this, that, and the third. That's basically how they were running the ghetto in South Central, I don't know. And if it gave them any problems, it'd be chitty, bang, bang around this bitch, you hear me? So, but what had happened was, I said, man, if that shit was only leading them to eventually you get busted, right, you hear me, right, you hear me? They say you're intimidating those people around there, this, that, and the third, and niggas will start going down, they giving niggas life sentences, this, that, and the third, and all type of 23 years, and this, but then the programs came along. We started introducing the WAB and tax exemption program. Keep in mind, it's my WAB. And what had happened was a lot of those people that were getting the tax exempt programs, they were thinking that it was coming from some Spanish boss that don't even exist, Asian boss don't even exist, white, some wizard of fraud ass nigga. You hear me? I said the person that do the tax exempt programs is me. It's a WAB and tax form. So then niggas would start take over, you hear me, these program property. They said, wait a minute, if niggas, that's the nigga, and that's the same goat boy nigga too. He said, that's why y'all around here snitching, you hear me? Keep in mind, you bringing up my military past ain't really helping you. They seen the movie The Godfather. Real dope boys ain't really, my niggas born in it, not sworn in it, ain't really in the lineage. That's what they were saying about Melchizedek, like he was like our Chippers soldier. Though I didn't necessarily need to be sworn in as a priest. I'm already born a priest. My whole family priest. That's what they do. But I also, you hear me, decided to take on another career just in case. Just in case, you hear me, right? You hear me, right? You hear me. Something, but they say fall back on. They say even if we fail, we land on a bunch of money. So, for instance, when the colleges are defunded, I can still get the military fund if I want to go to school. Does that make sense? Because I'm not in the fraud with you. And what you got to realize is you still have a representative, whether you like him or not, in federal government. So what you were trying to do, you tried to run your Abraham. Well, look, we just going to avoid Trump. We just going to go over there with Chip here. Like, no, you ain't, because you committed treason against me too. See, you committed treason against the white representative and the black representative, so they feel the same way I do. So now you basically have found what W.E.B. Du Bois said, your only option now is pay the fines, do a whole bunch of time in jail, or get a death penalty. And after you suffer all this stuff, like most niggas who done went through it, or white people that went through it, you end up the labor class for a little while. You're going to have to get you a job for a little while. You're going to have to learn what it is to work for somebody else, right? You hear me? That's heterosexual. That when you come with all that extra ass, that squeaky, queasy ass voices and shit, you hear me? They be like, they knock it off, you hear me? Back to work. Or the black person that's your boss, knock it off, back to work. You just gonna have to get used to that. Because truth be told, you don't have to work for me, you hear me? I can try. I'm mostly dealing, like they said, you hear me, as chief of mission with chief of reproduction, as they say, right? You hear me? And church missionaries. You can't really cross into my realm. And you can't hide behind the Bible, because as soon as you say a gay church, that is treason in and of itself, you hear me? Or matter of fact, it's worse than treason. It's called heresy. Saying shit like that is so bad, that shit called the Christian Crusade. That's how bad and stupid of a statement you make. That shit'll have 70% of the people on population of Earth that actually read that book, you hear me, after your age. That's how bad of an idea for you to say there's such thing as a gay church, you hear me? The whole book is about killing homosexuals in Sodom and Gomorrah, you hear me, in the time of Noah and Atlantis. They say God killed the whole world because you thought some stupid shit like this. And it's so bad, you hear me, that even kings and rulers and people in power like mine do not bring that whole ass shit in my church, because there is a God. All somebody created the sun and the moon and this, that, and the third. They say people who do that shit so bad that they say, man, it's a power, a force that nigga, no matter how much power we got, that nigga might destroy the world. So you know how back down south they say, nigga, we don't play with God, you hear me? Because we understand, right? Yeah, I can jump up and down them. I can outsmart a person in strategy. I might play ball, but I know I ain't created the sun, the moon, what they say, in the stars, and the gravitation, the earth pull. I know that some type of way, that negative energy, what they call climate change, biodiversity, general theory of relativity, or eugenics, or what we call the Dendera zodiac, right? These breeding purposes, right? That phallic worship fertility, right? Somebody that affect that shit, right? You hear me? That shit so bad that even if you thought God was a science, that negative force called volcano, earthquake, all type of bad ass energy, you hear me? Well, it'll kill you. You have to get away from that shit. You hear me? That's how bad it is. Because it's unnatural, you hear me, to the natural flow and cycle and currency and tides of the seasons. You can't do the shit. And you so out of tune with nature with these unnatural, unproductive acts, you don't even realize how deadly of a sin that is. Because a lot of people think that law and paperwork and these treaties are just paperwork. Well, before it's written on paper, where the fuck does it come from? It had to come from a person. A divine hermit like the Bible, right? You hear me? Yeah, it's a book, but before it was ever on a piece of paper, guess where it was located? Somebody's heart and their mind that God put on their heart and mind, and then they took what they knew and metamorphosed it into a document or what they call hip-hop rule, hip-hop array. The words are originally low. Like, even when I'm saying all this stuff, like, you hear me, I can say Big Beautiful Bill, but before the Big Beautiful Bill was a bill, where was it actually located? And somebody's heart in their mind. And so a lot of times what happens to you is you start trying to interpret things that you had nothing to do with how it was written or what the interpretations of it is. In particular, this one in particular say Chip Social Security. So we already know this nigga named Chip, the one who done it. That'll kill your whole argument about what the fuck it means. Because I'm the final authority on that shit. You hear me? I would know. Maybe the Constitution, right? You say, well, how do we know this has something to do with the Constitution? Okay, cool. Even if it did, we'll do with Query 14. It's called Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Banneker. It's going to say the same shit. Those civil political rights. Even if we got outside of W.B. Du Bois to say, let's get to the origin of the Constitution, right? They're going to say Benjamin Banneker, Thomas Jefferson. We had these school of hundreds, right? You remember when we talked to them Greek, Roman culture, why they civilizations fail, why others thrive, and when blacks get free, they supposed to breed with the women. That's literally what the fuck it say. And they say homosexuals so jealous that they will start all this racism all over again. You hear me? Keep it. Slavery was over in the Revolutionary War. Because slavery itself is homosexuality. You don't get it. When Dave Chappelle said, can a homosexual be racist, he was right. Slavery was over in the Revolutionary War. It was the end of the transatlantic slave trade. Remember, all of these presidents are wearing these wigs and these high-heeled shoes. They were gay. And they went around some heterogeneous males and started smoking, drinking, partying, fucking hoes, you hear me? And all of a sudden, they took off the wig, they took off their high-heeled shoes, had some Boston Tea Party, said, we ain't giving you shit because the niggas the only ones that create money anyway. It's just like, say, for instance, you work at like the movie Brown Sugar executive, he work in the studio. He like, look, well, and the person that owned the company say, hey, whatever the artists say today, those actors, if Kanye don't want or T.I. don't go to work today at Atlantic or this, we're just, and what they gonna find out is, like Jay-Z told Damon Dash, you hear me? Yeah, I own the company, but nigga, without you, you just a company. You ain't the actual source of all of the albums and the movies and the ideas and shit. You just a piece of name on a piece of paper. But if all of these ideas are coming from me, matter of fact, I can prove it. You start your company, I'm going to start my company. And your company don't try to copy out nothing my company got going on. I'll blow your ass out the water. And that's basically what happened to these people in Hollywood. Because a lot of people in Hollywood didn't even know. I say, you know, a lot of these rappers, you got these Roccos, these Futures, these Drakes. I'm from here. All of them ideas really came from me. That's the truth about it. I just never asked for the money for it. A lot of those niggas that was going to the NBA and shit, I'm the one that was doing it in the back. The street world work a little bit different. What they say, big worm, you hear me? You get it. It look like you get it, but it really mine. I've been big worm all my life since I was a kid, you hear me? I always get niggas shit. Sometimes niggas run off. You seen what the results of big worm, nigga, you hear me? Right, you hear me? They run off with the rap, idea, the movie, idea, the big worms, the type shit happened to them. What had happened was, you hear me, as I got older, I fucked around and moved to LA, right? You hear me? I was chilling in my condo, back home, right? Got everything I want, concierge, all of those shit, you hear me? Got niggas them pulling up with Uzis, all type of foreign cars, live my life. One time, Moneybag Yo dropped an album called Federal. I be telling this shit. I had the niggas pull up in the FedEx trucks. I was at the show just because I thought this shit was funny. You hear me? They was like, chill crazy here. Nigga, for real, I'm in the FedEx truck like, smoke weed out there, motherfucker. In front of the club, like, for real. I might do what the fuck I want to do, that truth, man. But I hadn't realized, right, they got to keep telling me about these billions and trillions of dollars for this biodiversity and climate change and this legalized marijuana. I said, now you're speaking my language, you hear me, tax status. And we try to teach you this shit and civilize you on the West Coast. So what you do? Pretend you want to know it, right? Went to real estate conferences, stock and bond conferences, right? You know, and we ain't got to pull up the records. They saying, I'm like, how the fuck you think I end up with 21,000 real estate properties, 730 to be exact? How the fuck you think I end up with? You think motherfuckers just nice, you just walk in the office, hey Marquez, here's 21,000 real estate properties because you're cool like this. Stop it, knock it off, you try it then. You're gonna laugh your ass at the building. The whole notion that you think that you be moving like me and operating like me, just lying, you hear me, like for real, I'm like, man, just stop it. I'm kind of like, you ever seen that movie, I think called Ninja Turtle? And the Asian motherfucker had to go in there. He said, man, I want you to get all these things off. Now, keep in mind, it's not him. It's the Ninja Turtle nigga that done it. You hear me? He tore that folks' ass up so quick, you hear me, man? He said, yeah, it's kind of like Beverly Hills Cop. It's always smart niggas in the background. You know how he said, look, man, I really figure all this shit out. But look, white boy, just say that you figured it out. And go on TV and say you the one that... I've been living like that all my life because I never wanted to be famous. But what had happened was, like I said, I had realized that sometimes allowing other people to take credit for your inventions and your patents and your royalty, because I was just thinking maybe he just being a good soldier, real street nigga, like the Godfather type nigga, they know to pay the money. But see, a lot of these younger generations, right, you hear me, like they say in the Bible, those who knew not Joseph, they started you get it and you gonna run off. I had a young kid a couple months ago. I helped him make $10,000. He was hard. I said, I'll just fill out this, do this here. I said, just give me such and such. I said, y'all the runoff coach. You hear me? I said, all that little running off y'all did, everybody defunded. Get the fuck out the country. You hear me? Oh, hold on, player. No, nigga. Y'all the runoff coach. You can't just get money fronted to you and run. It's like the bank. Now, the bank is a little bit more lenient. The bank won't necessarily send the leg breakers out there. They give you $5 million. They're going to kind of work with you. They're going to start getting some of your assets, right? You hear me? But y'all know in the real world, man, motherfucker, man, help you make $5-10 million. Man, you run off, man, you hear me? You know, motherfucker, let alone a few $1 billion. You hear me? Like y'all folks out, man, you know you can't just be going like that. You hear me? Now, you know, we be laughing, joking, play, but a lot of times y'all see big world, and you see her playing with the kids, helping the kids selling ice cream and shit. You think we just cool like that, be like, all right. You think I'm playing with your ass. I told you, but give me all right. I'm a nice person, man. You hear me? I ain't gonna be too nice, you hear me? You keep fucking with me about my money, man. You hear me? You know? I'm cool as just like a woman that's on the track. Be like, look, man, I gave this whole tax haven to operate on your OnlyFans. Now, what had happened was we had solved all of these issues back in 2019, right? You heard me? I'm fucking around like the Godfather. Remember the Godfather? He picking something up at the store. All of a sudden, he run into this little altercation in the movie The Godfather. Vito Corleone. They feel like he ain't just supposed to just get shit and put it in his pocket. Watch the movie The Godfather. And so what happened was, right, you heard me? Boom, he ended up in the hospital. And he said, well, hold on, how did this happen? So his brother Frodo had been the one that had snitched on the whole time. Said his dad had control of all the resources over there. Most of the people knew it, right? You hear me? So Frodo, you hear me? Because remember, Frodo is fucking these hoes in the casino, and he getting beat up by a man, right? You hear me? For having sex with women in the restroom in the movie Godfather. And the whole time when the nigga got smoked, you hear me, while Michael Corleone, guess who he was with? Some men rubbing him down. He was gay. And talking about, man, I don't like the fact that he got all the women. And I learned that about motherfuckers in Hollywood, that sickness. Like, even when you first watch the movie Godfather, you see the people coming in, they telling the Godfather they problems. Like, okay, I can take care of that for you, but if I ever need you, you know what I'm saying, you better be there for me. All right, next, you hear me? So that's how it normally go. Bam, you hear me? Keep in mind, there's a white man that do that named Donald Trump. Now, for the nigga people, I do that shit for them, right? You hear me? I'm always gonna do that for them. I've always done that shit since a kid when I was doing the goddamn homework for chips and juices. You hear me? That relationship ain't gonna never change. You hear me? Even born in Swan for I ever read a book, I always done it for my niggas. I ain't gonna never change. Now, what has changed that my niggas them are learning to accept is my pimping done expanded. You hear me? I ain't just got a bunch of hustle and flow hard out here for pimp bitches. You hear me? It's other hoes from different ethnic backgrounds, you hear me, that nigga is bringing in. That's in accordance, right? You hear me? Because knowing what they used to do the one and done. You done, you get the bitch, you get out the game, you lay back and play the beneficiary. Mine was a little bit different. Like I said, I read the Bible. I got to read the King Tut story about that chip ministry and them folks, how he defeated the prostitute of Babylon, what King Tut did when he wanted to move the capital of Memphis to the temple of luxury, right? You heard me, want to change. People say King Tut died. I said, no, he didn't, because if he did, why the fuck is it's not called Memphis today? It's called Cairo. He was successful. He accomplished it. It's the Joseph story in the Bible in Genesis. That's the King Tut story. Real Yu-Gi-Oh story, because there wasn't no Pharaoh. He was only talking to his freaking self. So when I really just lay the game to you, like I said, you heard me, like these royalties, that's why Trump was trying to clear up what was going on with those voting machines. He was like, it's very important that you don't play with that machine like that and try to manipulate those numbers. You Elon Musk, Alan Turing, homosexual, because this money has been established since not just 100 years ago when the Bumper Johnson, Lucky Luciano, the Chippewa tribe, since the ancient Treaty of Kadush, the first world peace treaty in the Bible, or the Melchizedek, something like that, what they call the chip ministry. That money right there goes to certain families all over the world, distributed to them all their life for the rest. And if you play with it, it's like trying to fuck with an anthill or a beehive, you remember, but the planet Earth version, the pyramid of it, and now you're catching this hell out. That's how it happened to you, because you're trying to do unnatural things amongst divine nature, and nature itself is attacking you. That's why when we move, you hear me, when it's time to move, you think a bird that swoop down on your ass, you hear me, because that's how powerful we move, you hear me? Like, stop fucking with shit. It's just like leave well enough alone, you know? Like, for real, if you get caught up in the streets, you know you got to start back from the bottom to the top, work, hustle your way up. Some people, you hear me, born in, you hear me, not sworn in. Some people born and sworn in. That was the brute of Melchizedek. He was the only one. Remember the Levitical priesthood never even got that money, right? Remember, the Levitical priesthood are mostly musicians and stuff. Jay-Z is a rare case, right? You heard me, right? You heard me. Sometimes, right, he's named in the Bible. But the Levitical priesthood, outside after Melchizedek, was always known as these musicians or these priests, right? You heard me? Because that is a proper form of documenting things, what they call praying to the church or whatever office assembly. So that's basically how they operate. So remember, white, Asian, Spanish people, you have a representative, just like you got senators, just like you got congresspeople. But when it comes to this red light district, this peace pattern, Amsterdam type shit, right? You hear me? I dominate it. That's my district. But I do that for the niggas now. Trump got his own little way of doing it for y'all. That's why Jerry Massey told him in London, Duff McDonald, look, I don't know what all people, now I do know what your preferences is and what you written down in law. I know anybody that's doing that gay BEF rush, I know you ain't with that. So I already know if they lie and come around me and say, oh, he sent us to help you out. I'm gonna already know soon you start doing gay shit. You know, Trump sent your ass around here to help chill. I'm gonna know it's a lot in. That's why I say, even if you were a con artist, you're not very good at it, you hear me? I said, I ran with one of the greatest con men on planet Earth, you hear me? Niggas that in the 48 laws of power type of it. But you keep forgetting when you run that con game, it's rule number one, is don't forget rule number one. Once you try to outshine the master, that's the end of your con game anyway. Dead man then, you hear me? That was the end of the con. Then you ain't got to get to the other 40-something laws of power. You ain't got to worry about it. You already fucked up rule number one. Outside Alejandro Medici type nigga, you ain't like shit. That's part of your life over here. Shit, you ain't got to get a step 2, 3, 4 shit. You still on one. Right? So you gotta understand, right here, the art of war, you hear me, winning before without firing a single shot. No wisdom, right? You hear me? Like, look, this is a strategy, this is how it goes, that's how you do an acquisition. Acquisition comes from what? Acquiescence. What is acquiescence? I mean, I can give you an offer you can't refuse. Man, I can show this business plan, this marketing plan, and I guarantee you, hear me, there's nothing you can do, you hear me, that's better than that. That's what he means. Those are acquisitions, right? So when Marvin say, I'm about to give you an offer and say, nobody that you know got a better business plan and marketing plan than I do. And acquiescence. After so many days, can't nobody say that it ain't true. It becomes what? Law. Whether it's not even written into a bill or act or what they call it, a proposition, it is actually law at that point, whether you become aware of it or not. Like I said, you have your own prime ministers. You have your other people. Now for the nigga shit, all the nigga shit go through nigga. You hear me? That's true, right? Now for women, like I said, that's the only thing that's actually added to me. I even had to explain this shit to my son a couple years ago. You hear me? I said, man, like for real, even my nigga, they be like, chick, man, you don't even fuck with other races or women like that. Like I said, I mostly did to myself, but I was like, it's better for expanding business, right? You remember? Because what is international business the difference from business administration? Say for instance, you go to college for business administration. Business administration in international business is just doing the same thing you did in business amongst your people with other nations in the world. If it makes sense. What's called peace treaties. Peace treaty is what? Like E1 visa, E2 visa, E3 visa. A spouse and a baby. That's what you do. But not their spouse and their baby. They already had kids. You hear me? The one that they make, you hear me, what you about. Does it make sense? Remember, yeah, those true enough, it say the black and white bear, but that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about Osiris on the judgment throne. And remember, the Tobit story tell you about the phatic thing. But remember, Tobit stepped out more than just getting the fish, right? Where Osiris was stuck in, right? In the book of Tobit, which your Bruce Allen Haley looking ahead, he took it a step further. He said, not only that my phatic bear works, and I got the woman, I got the money, the next step is what, right? The medium. Everybody else gonna go to Babylon, we're gonna go where? To the medium, right? What we call hip-hop Peru. Hip-hop array. That's why I said with the apostles, I sing these songs in jail and the doors fly open. Tupac ain't the first person to do that. Tupac ain't the first person to use his superstar power, you heard me, to do that, right? You heard me. That wasn't new. That's ancient science. Napoleon tried to mock it, but it really didn't do him no good. But that's an ancient science. What they call hip-hop rule, hip-hop array. So a lot of the hip-hop artists, after they said 50 years of hip-hop, made fool themselves. Like we had 50 minutes on here now. Right here. That's how I say, how you know all this content comes from me? Look how often I can produce content. Out of thin air, you hear me, for real. You don't need, I don't know, look, my paper and pen right here, truth be told, you hear me. All my LA film schools, I ain't wrote, listen, for real, you don't see me looking at no notes, nothing, you hear me, for real, just wing it. That's right, because I already know what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, that's one thing Marion Davis did say about William Randolph Hearst. She said he the only person I ever seen to hang with real UN experts. Those guys, you hear me, can tell you a whole library. They like Book of Eli niggas, but more than just knowing the Bible. They know the whole goddamn anything that's important, you hear me, aspect of civil engineering, you hear me, man, you hear me, like this. But the only difference is, right, you hear me, I kind of make myself a little bit wiser than, like I said, because Osiris is the black and white woman, right, you hear me, then step it to the media, but not W.B. Du Bois, but Sidney Poitier, one of the first black actors, and he was doing From Sir with Love. So he was teaching these white kids, right, you hear me, what I had realized, a better business model. Because From Sir with Love can become some detour type shit where people start playing with you. So when I speak to Aboriginals, right, you hear me, and saying they respect it, they already know, look, man, should take time out of the day, man, put y'all niggas up on game, you hear me, for real, respect what he's saying. No more than if he was doing the show for an hour, right, you hear me. So if I take time out of my day, you hear me, put you up on game, nigga, you need to listen. I got better shit to be doing, truth be told, you hear my budget be sliding on niggas. Sliding in some whole DM, sliding in all that, you feel what I'm saying? So if I take time out of my day, you hear me, that mean I cared about shit enough, you hear me, to put you up on game. Like I said, you have a representation, you got somebody gonna take care of their business for you, right? So when I take time out, even do it for the women, I'm like, look, man, if you in a DEI fraud, I understand that, bitch. I done had friends facing life sentences, murder charges. I done went to court and won for them. That's not really my issue with you. My issue with you is, you hear me, you gotta understand, once you get out of that scandal, you got to stay out the scandal. Just stay where I'm at, bro. You hear me? Like, for real, because I ain't doing this shit again, you hear me? Because I ain't doing no double work. I can't do it for a man because it don't work like that. Yeah, I can do it for niggas because that's the way the system is designed. Now, it's a natural system. It's like a pyramid beehive, right? You hear me? You have y'all representatives, y'all come, but y'all got to go start from the bottom to the top. Like I said, I took a picture of the economics of Dowry and bride price. They said, what did it mean when the Israelites, Hebrew, to the land of Canaan or the land of milk and honey? What happened? They went from a bride price, homogeneous, stalker, rapist, pedophile society to a dowry society where the woman paid the man, but she paid the man, they got a tax status, not necessarily because of the lineage, but for your blessing, Johnson Mary Gray lineage, and actually understand the way business operates, right? You hear me? It has all the superstar that goes along with it, makes things run smooth. You went and bred with a slave, and you went from one form of slavery to another form of slavery, which was ignorance. Because remember, that's what W.B. Du Bois was trying to tell these Tariq Nasheed type people, right? You hear me? 100 years ago, right? You hear me? That's what basically what they were telling him. The Tariq Nasheed type people. He said, hey, you know, you blacks at these freedmen bureaus and these freedmen's civil rights. If you don't have a black person of that tax status, we can't give you this freedmen's bureau, which you know is the FBI or G-Man today, because you're going to have to be a military veteran, you heard me, with all these United Nations shit, but back then it was called the Justice League, back in the day, right, you heard me? So they like, so, I said, guess where else it say that it, Mr. Tariq Nasheed? It said it in the Bible. They say, yeah, you can have Everett, you got Nehemiah, all you niggas know the laws, you heard me? But what the high priest said with the Urim and Thummim, the one that's actually stamped in the streets, right? You hear me? I can say certain things, you hear me, if you realize ain't nobody saying nothing about it. I can say, hey, you ever heard anybody say outline about 20 years ago, the BMF era? You ain't hear nobody else say outline, did it? I'm the person that legalized everything. Matter of fact, they love me probably more than they love me as a kid. How much you think more they love me, nigga, when the shit that got them down there, the 20 year, 15, legalized it? I still ain't went home since I done it. I still, what they say, 100 million, we still on the grind. It still ain't even went home, you hear me? Right here, I made home right out here, you hear me? I said, fuck it, I already been grinding. Like, we'll keep grinding now, you hear me? We winning so much. It's kind of like, you hear me? I went in a blur mode. Like my nigga who playing basketball, I said, how many points you can score? He said, I don't even know. Yeah, till the game over, you hear me? Man, motherfucker, we just gonna keep scoring, shit, you hear me? Why stop? Sometimes it's called what they call mama for Kobe. I call it EA Sports John, man, I'm in the zone. Sometimes when I get in the zone and start winning, yeah, the election was a long time ago, you hear me? But we still scoring. We still scoring. Like, it's, to me, you hear me? Like, you gotta think I'm a 24/7, 365 days, what they call four-corner hustler. I've been hustling, like, for so long, like, man, like, it don't really, the money don't really even matter to me. Because I'm still hustling, right? You hear me? Like, for real. Like, sometimes with women, I used to fuck 3, 4, 5 women a day and do the same thing. The next day with different. But when you get in that blur mode, right? You hear me? When you hustling like that, you hear me? You in your zone. I go in the studio, right? You hear me? I just say, man, here go 2015 track. Just turn the motherfucker on. Don't do nothing. I'm going to blaze that bitch, you hear me, to the last joint, you hear me? That's how I've been living my life. Because I ain't even got time to write a rap, you hear me? If I was to go to the studio, you hear me? I guarantee you wouldn't be shit wrote. We should go in that bitch, like that bitch up, that's the end of it. If it's a movie, it's gonna be like the way they did Friday. The only difference we might, now that's the only time we have to do editing, because it's different from an album, because I had to go from, it's other people involved, right? But when it's normally just me or just me and somebody me and other people that's talented, it's easier for me to do it, right? You hear me? But now if I got to do different scenes, that's a little bit different. But I can just really mostly just do dialogue about different subjects, you hear me, on 10 mics, right? You hear me, for movies or basically what they call pantomimes or procurements. We already know, like I said, I was going to film school, right? You hear me? They already said, where did all these pantomimes or procurements come from? They said it came from hieroglyphics, which is what the point I was trying to prove the whole time. I was like, listen, man, if Thomas Edison and all these, the Prince and all these people, and before them you got some magic lamp in 1650, which is an interim period, after the Medici and these Salem witch trials and all this other shit, they said, but by default, it's always the Egyptian pyramid, the hieroglyphics, and the Aboriginal paintings. I said, I know this, because that's where the fuck the camera obscura came from. We invented the camera and the technology. I knew. I mean, I'm like, shit, that's all I was trying to get in. And all that whole objectifying women, you hear me? I said, women objectify their damn self. They get mad if you don't go on their OnlyFans. So don't tell me that nigga looking at women. Also, you ain't gonna look at this ass, you ain't gonna look at these feet, this pussy tit don't look good. Somebody gonna want it. And truth be told, women, OnlyFans is basically women being outraged at men that want to occupy their natural role in life. That's actually their way of, you hear me, acting a damn fool, you hear me? Because men don't realize that they need to stop trying to be women. That's why OnlyFans exists, you hear me? That's the truth about it. Because they basically saying, look, don't be confused about my body parts, and he lying. He might not be a woman, but that's basically what they saying, you hear me? Let that motherfucker lie to you, you hear me, for real. Oh, yeah, I'm married, but look what I'm here doing. If I'm so married, you hear me, why all this going on then? All right, obviously that ain't what's going on. So I get all that, you hear me, real talk, you hear me. But I also get that there's 365 days in a year and a couple billion women on planet Earth. There's no way I can talk to all y'all. So, like I said, the media, you hear me, is a better form of communicate with interested parties, right? You hear me? Because it saved me a whole lot of wind and breath. I'm going to stop this at the album. Like I said, I come up with all this content. And we know I come up with all this content because I still produce it even to this day. I'm that nice, right? You hear me? And like I said, like, don't go catch COVID and I cure you from COVID with the Johnson & Johnson baby lotion, and then you catch COVID again because you done went over there to some shit that ain't got nothing to do with Moderna The modern way things operate are visor. Remember, visor is who? The motherfucking high priest. You really don't understand what cured COVID. Why? Remember, diseases, patents, cures are written after the man that came up with the answer. I'm the one that came up with the answer. I can kill all this shit you're talking about. You hear me? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They ain't named it after you. They named it after me. Man, look. You sit around, you lie so much, you hear me, and those lies, you hear me, then became an avalanche of destruction for you. You hear me? That's basically what happened to you. So what had happened was you thought that you was gonna throw your endless troubles on me, but I threw them endless troubles on a man that needed me. Donald Trump, you hear it? There you go, right there, you hear it? And I put the business, just like Robert Johnson before me, just like Bumper Johnson before him, and the Chippewa tribes, and the Grays, and the Tatars, and John Maccabees, and them in ancient times. Here, and I put the motherfucker back, the business back-ass bold. Because we know what destroyed Greek and Roman civilization, homosexual. You already know that. Economics of Dowry bride probably 5,000 years, 200. Sawan Anderson said she had never seen it. Like I said, I told Tariq, I was like, Tariq, Mr. Nasheed. This is the last time I'm saying it. Black people do have a high priest, just like they do in the Bible, Ezra Nehemiah. That's like W.B. Du Bois told you, in order to get a freedman's burial, it had to be a real boss nigga there on boss status. In the time of what's called the Johnson Reconstruction Act. And if you don't say it, you hear me, I'm telling you, man, you're dangerous, you'll sell out to your people. I'm just being honest with you, that's just what it is. Anybody in the street world will tell you that. You tried to fly Pimpin' Ken out here, he told you the same shit. And it's gonna get to a point where your own people don't realize, you hear me, you selling them out. I'm telling you, man, the worst thing you can have, man, is a Pharaoh that don't produce. Take you out the game, player. Learn from those who came before you. Learn from those, you hear me, man, who really rule, you hear me, when they get their position, you hear me, and then die. Like me, you hear me, I tell people, Nipsey Hussle, though Ethiopian T great, right, you hear me. Sometimes, man, watch your surroundings. Have the people around you watch your surroundings. Don't you? Sometimes, man, hustling is like playing basketball or swimming in the ocean. You know who moving along in balance with you, right? Like dancing, right? You hear me? You know who for you, right? You hear me? Who moving with, and you also know who got all that negative energy for you that you just need to get away from you. You hear me? Get back to dance. Love, peace, and hair grease. Young Chip the Great, my name, whole way. Peace out, Girl Scouts. 213-278-4469. Zelle Van. Still owe me a couple $100,000 for school. You owe me a couple $1 million in royalty checks, you hear me, for my audit. And you owe me still the money that I beat you on last Hanukkah. You hear me, with this 2.4 trillion, man. Get out of here, knock it off, man. You hear me? Movie still on the way, man. You heard me. Pharaoh Trillion, Alvin stores, Land Milk and Honey in stores, Our Children's Ministry, the movie, Leprechaun's Lawyer, and The Quest for a Silver Fleece. You heard me, right? You heard me. Yeah, I don't have to start my own movie, but I do. You heard me, to make sure you know who the money go to. Yeah, love.